Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you may be. Bear Geo here. And today we're going to attempt to do what I would call a back and forth times two. Okay? When you sit down and you think about what kind of a show you want, or what kind of a scene, I should say, a scene that you want, uh, kind of got to give it some thought as to what you're using it for. Now, some of the scenes that I create are for like people that have FM transmitters, and when people drive by, you can tune your car radio to a radio frequency and hear the music go along with the lights. Uh, that's what more or less this is for. But you can slow it down. You can change its color. You can do whatever you would like to do to it. But I'm going to get you started on how to create it and implement it in a show. And when I say show, I mean that's more than one scene. I like a perfect example of a show is uh, using your autoplay, and you have it set to play like 6 scenes in a row, and then reverse or start all over and play them all over again until at such time you shut them off or a timer shuts them off or whatever the case may be. Um, that is considered a show. All right. Otherwise, they are scenes. So, you need to think about what you'd like to do. So, today, if you have seen my post in the forum under the help section for this scene, it is green, and that's just for being, simplicity reasons to help you along, because you can always go back and change the color of it. You can have one side green, one side red, uh, whatever you like. So, um, you have to then think about how do you create that? Okay? You need to know what the functions are of these things in the settings that you're getting into. In my first and second video, I go through that extensively. And it will help you now. I'll go through it briefly here, but not as extensive, because I know the ones of you that are following me and watch all my videos, you newcomers, don't just jump into this. Go back and see my first 2 videos and then watch this one, because they'll always be there, and you'll understand what you're doing more. You'll know what each setting is for, what it will create for you, how to manipulate it, all that good stuff, because there is 1 in 1 millions of ways of doing this in here. So, and we're all get lost. Even as a computer guy, I get lost. So I suggest getting a notebook if you're into this. Okay, get a notebook. And I write things down, because that way, if suddenly I push the wrong button and it's not doing what I think it should do, I can go back and correct everything up to the point to where oops, made the boo-boo. So, all right, with that being said, let's get into this. Okay, everybody fire up your Govee app. And make sure you have your coffee, your beer, your cigarettes, whatever the case may be. Have them all ready so you can enjoy this a little more. I tried to explain it the best way I can. Being a software guy, I talk a lot of, well, I call it Spanglish, because you're not going to understand what it is if I use all the terminations or terms that they use in the software industry. So I'm going to try to convert it and make it as easy as possible. All right, if you're on the home page, let's go to the device page. And as always, the device, I'm working with the Govee Pro. I have the 100-foot string. Matter of fact, I have two of them. And one of them I use here in the house to create my programming because I am not about to spend my time out in the yard in a lawn chair with a frozen cup of coffee making scenes this time of year. That's more for summer fun. But anywho, let's fire up your Govee Pros. Now, I must say that not everything is compatible with the WoRkShOp that we're going to do. When you buy a product, a different device from Govee, the application knows what device you have and what its limitations are. So the app offers you, like if you have a WoRkShOp in your, let's say your LED strip lights, it could be completely different than the here because of the programming terminology for those lights and the outdoor permanent lights are different. So it's not going to be the same. So if it's compatible, you may have the same settings in it and you may not. So the Govee Pro users or anybody that's got the permanent outdoor lights, whether it's the Govee Pro or the previous editions and the new edition, I guess they got a new one out. These should be completely compatible and usable for, like when you upload them and you go in and you can take one or, and use it. These should be completely compatible with that. Okay, let's turn on your Govee Pros if you have one. If that's what you're using. Turn on your device. And we're going to tap on that. All right, this page pops up. Look down in the menu in the center of the the page. Each screen I call a page. You got color, scene, DIY, all that good stuff. Go over and tap more. Go down and tap WoRkShOp. Okay, if you have any scenes that you've created before or if there are any pre-made scenes, they're in here. If you don't have any, then you haven't created any or taken any or whatever the case may be. Okay, go up to the upper right-hand corner, click the little plus. All right, here we are. Never Man's Land. We're going to name this, or you're going to name yours. So what are you going to call it? And here's the plan. We're going to divide the house in half. And we are going to create the same show on both sides of the house. And I'm going to use green just for argument's sake. Use whatever color you like, okay? So, since this is going to be a sequential show divided in half, each side of the house will do the same thing at the same time. So it'll look really interesting. So I'm going to name mine, tap name. I think I'm going to name it, I'm going to abbreviate it because we are limited on how many fonts we can use or text we can use. I'm going to name mine back and forth. I'm going to use a little space, back and forth, color green, space, times 2, which tells me it's a back and forth scene. It's in green, and it's for both sides of the house. 2 of them, the same. So whatever you name yours, confirm it. If you have an icon, if you have a DIY icon that you've created somewhere, if you haven't, I just leave mine default. Groups, if you want to save it in a group, do that. Now the next thing you see is a little blue one in a white box. Missing the corners. This is layer 1. All right. So now we need to divide your house in half. So you 150 owners, light owners, gonna have to go 75, your 150, and of course, those of you that have 50, down to the 25. But we don't have to go out and count lights. We just go and do it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go to the applied area. Okay, what's that mean? Okay, that means, as it is, that means the whole string. When it's lit up in blue like that, that's the applied area. That means the whole string. The whole 150, the whole 100, the whole 50 if that's what you got. So what we're going to do, excuse me, we're going to take the little, I don't know what you call that, a little arrow, teardrop to your right. We'll put our thumb on that, and we're going to move it halfway, just like that. All right, what that does is that cuts off the other half of the string. Only the blue shaded area will work. That's your first half of your string. Okay, so now you're thinking, how are we going to create this? All right, well, you got to stop and think that you're going to have to tell this thing the lights that you're using, how many lights you're going to use, how many segments you're going to use. So you need to go down here and you're going to have to customize it. So, and the reason being is that you need to tell it how many segments you're going to control here. Well, since your light is divided into half, you have 2 segments now. So you need to first here, you got a lot of numbers right here, is 1. This is your first segment. Because you've just now taken one segment, which was all your lights, and you've just now divided it in half. So now you have 1/2 of a segment, which is a segment. Or you have 2 segments. Okay? All right, so now you need to go over, and it wants to know your intervals in your lights. All right, do you want spaces between them? Do you want, that's what these numbers represent. Okay, so if I click 1 or set it to 1, you don't need to do this, but I'm going to give you an example. These lights will go every other one. Every other one, these lights will go. And the reason behind this is that when you're making layers, you can come back and program something into the lights that you're not using. And that makes it more of a show, okay? And I've done that. Using if you've seen my white, all white, for the people that like white Christmas show, look at those. It's in the DIY section, in the WoRkShOp section, and you'll see it there of how those lights react, okay? So anyway, we need to tell it, no, we don't want any intervals. We don't want any spacings between the lights, okay? We want them to go fire off one after another. Okay, so now we're going to go into a color. All right, I'm going to use green. You can use green, you can use red, whatever color you like. So select your color. Okay, so now how are you going to distribute this? How do you want these to go? So we want it based on the number of the ICs. Because you've already selected how those ICs are going to work up in the custom. Yeah, you're not controlling your segments, and you're not controlling a unified color. You want based on the number of ICs, because you already told it that's what you want to do. All right, well, what direction? Forward. Okay? You only got forward and backwards here, so it doesn't make any difference. Forward. All right, now let's get down here to color changing speed. We don't need any because we're not changing colors. All right, now, okay, down here to brightness. If it isn't turned on, hit that little arrow. All right, we want unified colors. Okay? A unified color is something that goes good with something else. And I don't know why that makes a big difference, because it's hard to explain between the gradient and the unified. The gradient is more of a blend of colors. Like if you turn a red and a green on, you're going to get a yellow color. If the red and the green light comes on in the same light, you're going to get a yellow color. Now in unified, it separates them. Okay? So we're going to go down here and well, what's the dark and brightness order? Here, it doesn't make a lot of difference. Brightest, darkest, darkest or brightest, it doesn't matter. When something flashes, does it come on first or does it go off first? It's kind of like the chicken and the egg thing. Who came first, chicken or the egg? Okay? Kind of the same thing. Nobody's ever going to notice if it comes on first or goes off first. So, brightest, darkest. Okay, your brightness scope. That tells each light how bright it's going to be. All right? So we're going to go from 0 to 100%, or you can go 65 to 100%. If you're going to add more to this in another uh, layer, you don't want your lights to overwhelm each other. So you might want to, tone them down a bit. So, but here we'll use 0 to 100, just for shit's sake. Brightness changing speed, we're not changing anything. Retention of the light timing for the brightest and the darkest light, we're not using that. That is not being used at this point. Okay, now we have 3 options down here below here. And we want, since we're moving, we're gonna tell it how to move. Okay, so we're gonna turn on moving effect in the selected area, because that's the area we're working with. All right. Now it's asking for a moving interval. All right. We're gonna go with 1 each light. All right. Now we want it to come on. Now what do we want to do? Well, let's go forward and backwards. Okay. And scroll up and you'll see moving speed. Now this is a touchy thing down here. I kid you not. On mine it is. I don't know if yours is going to be the same or not. But between 99 or 199% is like almost a 25% drop. I kid you not. You wouldn't think it would slow it down that much. Between 100 and 99, it's quite a drop. And the one in the video that I put in the forum is at 100. I mean, it's just a cooking. And at 99, it drops down to like 25% slower. So be aware. Okay, hit apply. Now what we need to do is turn on enter and exit effect. This is what gives it to move. Just like that. All right, hit apply again. Now watch your lights move. You have one side. That should be your power pack side, or your power brick side, going back and forth. Now they're not going very fast because I got them at 99, but if you speed them up to 100, zippity-doo-dah, you're going to rock. Okay, let's scroll back up to the top. We're going to create another layer. Now here comes some magic. Oh God, you're going, we got to do this again? I don't have time for this. I got to hurry up and get to the store and get my son G.I. Joe with a Kung Fu grip before they run out. Now, it's easier than that. Okay, scroll all the way back up to the top of the page and you'll see copy. Right there, just kitty corner underneath the plus sign. Tap copy. Boom. Hey, there's layer 2. And if you look through it, hey, it's already preset. Hey, everything's there. Sweet. Now I can get my son my G.I. Joe with a Kung Fu grip before they run out. Okay, there's one change we have to make, however. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take that little teardrop that's in the center and we're going to expand that out all the way. Now the one on the left, drag that teardrop to the middle, just like that. Click apply. Oh, look at your lights. Both sides are doing the same thing, just that fast. Now you can go on and create a third layer if you wish, and a fourth layer doing something else if you want. You know how to play with this. I like to add flash, the twinkling stars, the quick white pops of white light, but I'm not going to do that here. We're just creating the back and forth scene. Now, here's one thing you do have to keep in mind. Let's save this. All right. Now it's saved in your DIY folder for your WoRkShOp folder. I'm sorry, your WoRkShOp folder is where it went. So let's say you make a mistake on number 2. You can delete this number 2 by clicking delete. So now it's gone. Okay? To save it this way, you would click save. But we don't want to click save. We want to keep it. So what you would do is you'd click the back button and it's going to ask you, do you really want to exit without saving your changes? Well, yeah. I don't want to change anything. Okay, so there it is. There's your back and forth. Green 2 times. All right? Hit the little check mark. And there's both your layers. Everything as you left it. Now, another thing to keep in mind. If you're going to change the speed on this, scroll down to your backward, forward part and your speed. If you're going to whop that up to 100%, let's do that. Click apply. One side's going to blink a lot faster than the other. So you need to go back over. Scroll down to your layer 1 and do the same thing. Bring that speed up to 100%. So both sides run the same. If you don't want them running the same, that's fine. You can run one slower and one a different speed. So now let's go back to layer 2. You can just scroll over to the left, or you can tap the layer icon at the top. And let's go up to where the color is. Okay, now be careful here. Do not hit the X. If you hit the X, you delete your color. And if you save it, you got a problem. So click on the color. Let's change it to red. Click apply. All right. One side, they're doing the same thing again. One side is red, one side is green if you're using this for Christmas. And you can do this with several colors. Now, while we're here on 2, here's another thing you can do. You can enhance this even further. Under the color, click the plus and add a blue. Click apply. That way you can see what it's doing. All right, now look at it. Well, now we got a whole different scene, but they're still racing back and forth. And you can do that with the other side too. You can scroll back over here to layer 1. And you have green. And let's do bright blue, just for the sake of it. And now the other side, we'll scroll an even amount of both, just like the ones with the dark blue and the red. It's just endless what you can do here. Now I'm gonna change mine back. I'm gonna delete that. in layer 1, and I'm going to delete my blue in layer 2, and I'm going to hit apply. Now we're back to our original, and that's where I'm going to end this video. All right. What we'll do here is the next time we'll pick up using this same thing. If you want to save it into your WoRkShOp default folder, and remember the name you named it. And when we come back, the next video will be about how you can really blow somebody's mind. We're having a back and forth here. And what we're going to do is we're going to divide the house into half again. We're going to use this same process, but we're going to skip every other light and put another show in between. We're going to put a reverse show in between what we got going. All right, we have green. For an example, we'll have the right side of the house, right half side of the house. We'll have green going back and forth every other light. We're going to put in there a red going in the opposite direction using the lights, the every other lights that we shut off. How's that sound? So we're going to have back and forth, back and forth. Well, no, let's look at it this way. We'll have back and forth, forth and back, opposite of each other on the same side of the house. And then we can put it over on the other side too, in a different color. So that ought to make things interesting. All right. So if you made any changes, make sure you save this. And we'll work with it a little more in the future. So, hey, have a good day. If this video taught you anything, helped you out in any way, shape, or form, give it a like. You know, I'm not here to get bonus points for being the best YouTuber, so I don't ask anybody to subscribe or anything like that. You can if you wish, but just give it a like. All right? Appreciate it. Bear Geo signing off, and we'll see you soon.